class? Okay. Idam hi vishwam bhagavan ivetaro yada jagasthana nirodha sambhavaham tadhi swayam bhedavan sathapite pradesha matram bhavatah pradarshitam. Idam hi vishwam bhagavan ivetaro yato jagasthana nirodha sambhavah tadhi swayam veda bhavan stathapite pradesha matram bhavata pradarshitam. Idam, this Vishwam, cosmos, Bhagavan Iva, Itaraha, himself. The Lord is himself the cosmos. The Lord is himself the cosmos. At the same time, then from Lord only creation, that is Sambhavaha, Jagat, Sthan. So the world exists, creation happens, Nirodho, annihilation happens. So from him only everything emanates, unto him only everything is annihilated. Now, your good self all knows all about this. Narada is speaking to Vedavyasa. You know everything. I just gave you a synopsis, a briefing, Pradesha Matram. I just summarized you, but you know everything. And how this creation happens. Though Lord is himself this cosmos, at the same time, Itaraha. He is aloof. He is aloof from it. From him only the cosmic manifestation emanates, maintained also, it rests also, and then it is annihilated also. Your good self knows everything about it. But still I'm summarizing. Okay. Daya Sagar Prabhu, please read. Keep your mobiles, videos on. How will I know that you are in the class?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Idam hi vishvam bhagavan ivetaro yato jagatstana nirodha sambhavaha taddi svayam veda bhavans tatapite pradesha matram bhavata pradarshitam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, is himself this cosmos, and still he is aloof from it. From him only has this cosmic manifestation emanated. In him it rests, and unto him it enters after annihilation. Your good self knows all about this. I have given only a synopsis. Purport. For a pure devotee, the conception of Mukunda, Lord Shri Krishna, is both personal and impersonal. The impersonal cosmic situation is also Mukunda because it is the emanation of the energy of Mukunda. For example, a tree is a complete unit, whereas the leaves and the branches of the tree are emanated parts and parcels of the tree. The leaves and branches of the tree are also the tree, but the tree itself is neither the leaves nor the branches. The Vedic version that the whole cosmic creation is nothing but Brahman means that since everything is emanating from the Supreme Brahman, nothing is apart from him. Similarly, the part and parcel, hands and legs are called the body, but the body is the whole unit, is neither the hands nor the legs. The Lord is the transcendental form of eternity, cognition, and beauty, and thus the creation of the energy of the Lord appears to be partially eternal, full of knowledge, and beautiful also. The captivated conditioned soul, under the influence of the external energy, Maya, are therefore entrapped in the network of the material nature. They accept this as all in all, for they have no information of the Lord, who is the primeval cause, nor have they information that the parts and parcels of the body, being detached from the whole body, are no longer the same hand and leg, as when attached to the body. Similarly, a godless civilization detached from the transcendental living service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is just like a detached hand or leg. Such parts and parcels may appear like hands and legs, but they have no efficiency. The devotee of the Lord, Srila Vyasadeva, knows this very well. His father advised by Srila Narada to expand the idea so that the entrapped conditioned soul may take lessons from him to understand the Supreme Lord as the primeval
As
cause.
a primeval cause. So here, Vyasadeva is taking guidance from Narada to understand that Lord is the cause of all causes. So whatever creation happens, everything is because of him. So that is how Narada is explaining to Vyasa. Neeraj Prabhu, read from here.
यस माता जी तो आपको म्यूट करना पड़ेगा.
What happened?
No, Mataji, I'm just taking it out. This is the 21st, na Mataji? 20 है क्या? अच्छा 20 मैंने 24 चला गया. करीब हुआ. Sorry, Mataji.
Attention.
The
One mark
Supreme
will cut,
Lord.
huh?
1 minute.
Marketing also will
According
happen
to
now if
the
you're not
Vedic
attentive in
version,
the
huh?
class.
प्रभु जी 20th का परपट का सेकंड पैराग्राफ.
Yes, Prabhuji. According to the Vedic version, the Lord is naturally fully powerful, and thus his supreme energies are also always perfect and identical with him. Both the spiritual and the material skies and their paraphernalia are emanations of the internal and external energies of the Lord. The external energy is comparatively inferior, whereas the internal potency is superior. The superior energy is living force, and therefore she is completely identical, but the external energy, being inert, is partially identical. But both the energies are neither equal to nor greater than the Lord, who is the generator of all energies. Such energies are always under his control, exactly as electrical energy, however powerful it may be, is always under the control of the engineer. The human being and all other living beings are products of his internal energies. Thus, the living being is also identical with the Lord, but he is never equal or superior to the personality of Godhead. The Lord and living beings are all individual persons. With the help of the material energies, the living beings are also creating something, but none of their creations are equal or superior to the creations of the Lord. The human being may create a small playful Sputnik and may throw it into outer space. But that does not mean that he can create a planet like the Earth or Moon and float it in the air as the Lord does. Men with a poor fund of knowledge claim to be equal to the Lord. They are never equal to the Lord. This is never to be. The human being, after attaining complete perfection, may achieve a large percentage of the qualities of the Lord, say up to 78%. But it is never possible to surpass the Lord or to become equal with him. In a diseased condition only, the foolish being claims to be one with the Lord and thus becomes misled by the illusory energy. The misguided living beings, therefore, must accept the supremacy of the Lord and agree to render loving service to him. For this, they have been created. Without this, there cannot be any peace or tranquility in the world. Srila Vyasadeva is advised by Srila Narada to expand this idea in the Bhagavatam. In the Bhagavad Gita, also the same idea is explained. Surrender fully unto the lotus feet of the Lord. That is the only business of the perfect human being. Hare Krishna Mataji, that was pranam.
You're able to hear me?
Mataji, your voice is very slow. So,
I don't know, something has happened. And you're able to see me? No.
yes, we can see you, but I was just trying to figure out my those stereo headphones, but they are also not getting connected.
Mataji,
Is it
you're
okay
audible.
now?
You're
You're
audible. You're
audible?
audible.
Yes,
Both of-
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, both of your voices clear for us.
But I am not able to see my own Zoom using. I'm not able
Video.
to see. I don't know why. Okay, anyhow. 21st verse. Video, everything is on. I don't know what has happened.
Everything is visible, everything is audible. Dhamma.
Okay. Tvamatmanatmanam avehyamogdruk parasya pumsah paramatmanah kalam ajam prajatam jayatah shivayatam mahanubhavabhyudayodiganyyatam tvam atmanatmanam Tvam atmanatmanam aveha moghadruk parasya pumsah paramatmanah kalam ajam prajatam jagatah shivayatam mahanubhavabhyudayo diganyatam tvam yourself Atmanaha, by your own self, yourself, by your own self. Then, Avehi Amoghadruk, Avehi, search out, Amoghadruk, one who has perfect vision, Parasyaha, of the transcendence, Kumsaha, the personality of God, Paratmanaha, of the Supreme Lord, Kalam, the plenary part, Ajam, birthless, Prajatam, have taken birth, Jagataha, of the world, Shivaya, for the well-being, Tat, that, Mahanubhava, of the Supreme Personality of God, Sri Krishna, Abhyudayaha, past tense, Adhiganyahatam, described most vividly. So let us see from behind now. Shivasyaha, for the well-being, what you have done, you are birthless. In your plenary portion of the Supreme Lord, you are also birthless. But Prajatam, you have appeared. Why? Shivaya, for the well-being of everyone. And then you have a perfect vision. Amoghadruk, you have perfect vision. At the same time, yourself, you know about that Supreme Lord, you know about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who is present as a super soul. And you are the plenary portion of the Lord that has been given. You are the plenary portion, Kalam. You are the plenary portion of the Lord Though you are birthless, you are also born. And you are born for the well-being of everyone. So Mahanubhava, Mahanubhava. Lord is also known as Mahanubhava. So you should have described about him more in detail. Describe the transcendental pastimes of the Lord and how more vividly, more in detail. So now the answer is given by Narada. The Lord is maintaining everything. You should now describe about him. So previous verses also speak the same thing. All the creation, everything is happening just because of his direction and his guidance. As Super Soul, he is witnessing all our activities. Okay. Gajendra Sutta Prabhu read.
त्वमात्मनं महात्मनं हरेहि अमोघधि पारस्य पुंसां परमात्मना फलम् आजं प्रजातं जगतः शिवाय तन् महानुभाव अभ्युदयो दिक्खं जनाः. Translation open by Srila. Your goodness has perfect vision. You yourself can know the super soul.
Why
Super
so much
soul
of
personality
disturbance is
of
there,
God.
Prabhu? You sit in a place where all the disturbances are there. You don't
Narada is
read.
cooking matter.
Don't read. Kusum, you read.
Ji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Your goodness has perfect vision. You yourself can know the super soul personality of Godhead because you are present as the plenary portion of the Lord. Although you are birthless, you have appeared on this earth for the well-being of all people. Please, therefore, describe the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, more vividly. Purport. Srila Vyasadeva is the empowered plenary portion incarnation of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. He descended by his causeless mercy to deliver the fallen souls in the material world. The fallen and forgotten souls are detached from the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The living entities are parts and parcel of the Lord, and they are eternally servitors of the Lord. All the Vedic literatures, therefore, are put into systematic order for the benefit of the fallen souls, and it is the duty of the fallen souls to take advantage of such literatures and be freed from the bondage of material existence. Although formally Srila Narada Rishi is his spiritual master, Srila Vyasadeva is not at all dependent on a spiritual master because, in essence, he is the spiritual master of everyone else. But because he is doing the work of an acharya, he has taught us by his own conduct that one must have a spiritual master, even though he be God himself. Lord Sri Krishna, Lord Sri Rama, and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all incarnations of Godhead, accepted formal spiritual masters, although by their transcendental nature, they were cognizant of all knowledge. In order to direct people in general to the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, he himself, in the incarnation of Vyasadeva, is delineating the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat.
Mataji, you're not audible. Your mic is muted.
So even though Lord incarnates, literally incarnation is Vyasadeva, here very clearly it has been said that even Vyasadeva needs a spiritual master. Even Lord wants to show that the transcendental knowledge is achieved through the spiritual master. Okay, 22nd one. Idam hi pumsastapasashtasya va swishtasya suktasya cha buddhidattayoho avichyutortha kavibhir nirupito yadduttam shloka gunanuvarnanam idam hi pumsastapasa shutasya va svistasya suktasya cha buddhi tattayoho avichyato artha kavidhiranirupito yaduttama shloka gunanu varnanam. The answer of this has been given in second canto. When I was doing the second canto, the answer is given. Even in the first canto, if you see in the second chapter, you have this Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramakaha, Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeva Parakriyaha, Vasudeva Param Jnanam, Vasudeva Param Tapa, Vasudeva Parodharma, Vasudeva Paragatihi. To learn that verse, Vasudeva, the center is Vasudeva. Why you perform the austerity? To know him. Why a person is performing, why a person is studying or trying to attain the transcendental knowledge? To have a glimpse of him. Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramakaha. Makha means the yagyas. Why a person is doing the yagya? To please him. Vasudeva Parayagyaha, Vasudeva Param Jnanam, Vasudeva Param Tapaha. Why austerity is done? So that we can get a glimpse of him. So all these things have been given, the same verse is given here. Idam means this. He certainly, pumsaha, everyone, tapasaha, austerity, shutasyaha, study of the Vedas, swishtasyaha, that is sacrifice, suktasya, spiritual education, buddhi, culture of knowledge, tattavyaha, dattayoho, charity, avichutaha, infallible, arthaha, interest, kavibhi, the learned people, nirupitaha, they have concluded. What they have concluded? Uttama shloka, the Lord who is described by choice poetry, Gulanu Varnanam, description of the transcendental qualities of the Lord. So they have described, they have concluded, learned scholars have concluded, Kaveyoho, or you can say Kavibihi, they have concluded that what is the purpose of getting knowledge? What is the purpose of performing austerity? Why a person is studying Vedas? Why a person is performing sacrifice? Why is he chanting? Just to culminate in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord. Everything should glorify Krishna. Gulanu Varnanam. And how is he glorified? In the choice of the poetry. Uttama Shloka. One of the name of Krishna is Uttama Shloka. That means choicest of the choicest words are used to describe him. Or whatever words you use to describe him, that becomes Uttama Shloka. Abhaddavati api. If you see in the first canto, fourth chapter. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo. Yes, sorry, fifth chapter only. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin prati shlokam abhaddavati api. Abhaddavati api means it is not properly composed. The meters are not proper. The words are also not that powerful. But if it is glorifying Krishna, automatically everything becomes powerful. Abhaddavati api. Not written in a very rhythmic way. Doesn't matter. But whatever is used for his glorification, that becomes Uttama Shloka, or the wonderful one word in the poetic form. So choicest words has been taken to describe him. Okay, Jumur, read.
Mataji, she's not feeling well. I'll read for her.
Okay, read.
Idam hi pumsas tapasa shrutasya va shvistasya suktasya cha buddhidattayoho avichutortha kavibhirnirupito yaduttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerities, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord, who is defined in choice poetry. Purport: Human intelligence is developed for advancement of learning in art, science, philosophy, physics, chemistry, psychology, economics, politics, etc. By culture of such knowledge, the human society can attain perfection of life. This perfection of life culminates in the realization of the supreme being Vishnu. The Shruti, therefore, directs that those who are actually advanced in learning should aspire for the service of Lord Vishnu. Unfortunately, persons who are enamored by the external beauty of Vishnu Maya do not understand that culmination of perfection or self-realization depends on Vishnu. Vishnu Maya means sense enjoyment, which is transient and miserable. Those who are entrapped by Vishnu Maya utilize advancement of knowledge for sense enjoyment. Sri Narada Muni has explained that all paraphernalia of the cosmic universe is but an emanation from the Lord out of his different energies, because the Lord has set in motion by his inconceivable energy the actions and reactions of the created manifestation. They have come to be out of his energy, they rest on his energy, and after annihilation, they merge into him. Nothing is therefore different from him, but at the same time, the Lord is always different from them. When advancement of knowledge is applied in the service of the Lord, the whole process becomes absolute. The personality of Godhead and his transcendental name, fame, glory, etc., are all non different from him. Therefore, all the sages and devotees of the Lord have recommended that the subject matter of art, science, philosophy, physics, chemistry, psychology, and all other branches of knowledge should be wholly and solely applied in the service of the Lord. Art, literature, poetry, painting may be used in glorifying the Lord. The fiction writers, poets, and celebrated literatures are generally engaged in writing of sensuous subjects. But if they turn towards the service of the Lord, they can describe the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Valmiki was a great poet, and similarly, Vyasadeva is a great writer, and both of them have absolutely engaged themselves in delineating the transcendental activities of the Lord, and by doing so, have become immortal. Similarly, science and philosophy also should be applied in the service of the Lord. There is no use presenting dry speculative theories for sense gratification. Philosophy and science should be engaged to establish the glory of the Lord. Advanced people are eager to understand the absolute truth through the medium of science, and therefore, a great scientist should endeavor to prove the existence of the Lord on a scientific basis. Similarly, philosophical speculations should be utilized to establish the supreme truth as sentient and all powerful. Similarly, all other branches of knowledge should always be engaged in the service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, also the same is affirmed. All knowledge not engaged in the service of the Lord is but nescience. Real utilization of advanced knowledge is to establish the glories of the Lord, and that is the real import. Scientific knowledge engaged in the service of the Lord and all similar activities are factually Hari Kirtan, or glorification of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
You see what Prabhupada writes, scientific knowledge engaged in the service of the Lord. The scientists are meant to prove the existence of God. Narayana is laughing because he's a scientist. So you have to prove by your theories that yes, Lord has created everything. Whatever is there, it's only because of him. Whatever wondrous things we are seeing, that is all Srimad Urjitamevava. Everything, it is his creation. So that is service to the Lord. That is Hari Kirtanam, Krishna says. Srila Prabhupada says, that is Hari Kirtan. So by writing thesis in which you are saying that yes, he is, everything is because of him, that is Hari Kirtan, and glorification of Krishna. Okay. Ampuratīta bhave bhavam mune dasyastu kasyachana vedavadinam nirupito balaka eva yoginam shushrushanam pravrushi nirvivikshatam. Aham puratita bhave bhavam mune dasyastu kasyachana vedavadinam Nirupito balaka eva yoginam Shushrushanam pravrushi nirvivikshatam. Now Narada is speaking about his birth, his previous birth. Aham, I, Pura, formerly, Atita Bhave. Atita Bhave means in the previous millennium, Abhavam became Mune or Muni Dasya of the maid servant to but Kashyashchana, certain Vedavadinam of the followers of Vedanta, Nirupitaha engaged, Balakaha boy servant, Eva only, Yoginam of the devotees, Shushrushane in the service of them, Pravrushihi during the 4 months of the rainy season, Nirvivikshatam living together. So in the previous millennium, Atita Bhave, Aham, I was born. How I was born? As a son of a certain maid servant, boy servant, maid. So I was born Dasyaha. Dasya means maid servant. I was born as a son of a maid servant. And she was engaged in the service of Brahmana. My mother was engaged in the service of Yoginam, that is Brahmanas. Brahmanaha Shushrushane, Yoginam Shushrushane. Shushrushane means in the service of. For how many months? 4 months. Why? Because during the rainy season, they were living together. So I was also engaged. I did their personal service as a boy servant. So in the 4 months, generally, sadhus don't travel anywhere. They remain in one place and do the bhajan sadhana. So these sages, they also remained in these seasons, that is Chaturmas. Then my mother anyhow was serving the Brahmanas. And they were strict followers of Vedanta, Vedavadinam. Vedavadinam means they were strict followers. They stayed there for 4 months. Nirupitaha, I was engaged as a boy servant to do all their personal service. Okay, Gadadhar Prabhu, please read. Gadadhar Prabhu, read.
Krishna Dandavanamadai. Aham Puradita Bhave Abhavam Mune Dasyastu Kashyashchaham Vedavadinam Nirupito Balakayeva Yoginam Susrusane Varvashi Nirviviksatam. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Muni, in the last millennium, I was born as the son of a certain maid servant engaged in the service of the Brahmanas who were following the principles of Vedanta. When they were living together during the 4 months of the rainy season, I was engaged in their personal service. Purport. The wonder of an atmosphere surcharged with the devotional service to the Lord is briefly described herein by Sri Narada Muni. He was the son of the most insignificant parentage. He was not properly educated. Still, because his complete energy was engaged in the service of the Lord, he became an immortal sage. Such is the powerful action of devotional service. The living entities are the marginal energy of the Lord, and therefore they are meant for being properly utilized in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. When this is not done, one's situation is called Maya. Therefore, the illusion of Maya is at once dissipated as soon as one's full energy is converted in the service of the Lord instead of in sense enjoyment. From the personal example of Sri Narada Muni in his previous birth, it is clear that the service of the Lord begins with the service of the Lord's bona fide servants. his personal service. Service of the devotee is more valuable than the service of the Lord. One should therefore choose a bona fide servant of the Lord, constantly engage in his service. Accept such a servant as a spiritual master and engage himself in the spiritual master's service. Such a spiritual master is the transparent medium by which to visualize the Lord, who is beyond the conception of the material senses. By service of the bona fide spiritual master, the Lord consents to reveal himself in proportion to the service rendered. Utilization of the human energy in the service of Lord is a progressive path of salvation. The whole cosmic creation becomes at once identical with the Lord as soon as service in relation with Lord is rendered under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master. The expert spiritual master knows the art of utilizing everything to glorify the Lord. And therefore, under his guidance, the whole world can be turned into the spiritual abode by the divine grace of Lord's servant. Hare Krishna. And that's now.
Expert spiritual master knows the art of utilizing everything to glorify the Lord. Therefore, under his guidance, the whole world can be turned into the spiritual abode with the divine grace of the Lord's servant. Why Prabhupada is writing so much about this? Because Narada is emphasizing, I served. Knowledge is not just attained. Knowledge is not just book reading or by hearting. The more a person serves, yasa deve para bhakti ritha devi tatha guru tasyati katitartam prakashanti mahatmanam. The more you consider your spiritual master as Lord and serve him, yasa deve para bhakti ritha devi tatha guru. And Krishna says, I give him the personal knowledge. Sometimes you think, okay, we'll make notes, we'll hear, we'll write, we'll by heart. You just serve. Very clearly it has been given. Just by utilizing everything, then automatically one gains the knowledge. Yes, he has to do swadhyaya, he has to hear, everything is there. Retention is only by Krishna's mercy. What is retention? Tasyete katita yarta. Krishna gives the guhya jnana, confidential knowledge. Okay. So here we'll stop. Any questions you can ask.
Mataji, I just have one quick query, if I may ask.
Yeah.
When Naradji is talking about his previous life, that means he can remember his previous life, right? So fundamentally, what is the, like, in which yuga or which was the kalpa, or like what is the
Satya
time
Yuga.
difference? Has it been spoken somewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam?
What we are reading? Satya Yuga only. We are reading about him in the Bhagavatam only, na?
No. In, like, when he talks about his previous life, it was during this life of this Brahmaji, or it was a different kalpa, different Brahma, or different like
In the previous millennium. What is the meaning of millennium? Chatur Yuga. Narada is speaking now. That means he is speaking about in the previous millennium of which Vaibhav Manu only. Vaibhav Manu is now 28th cycle is going on. He's speaking about the 27th cycle, the last millennium. That means the 27th cycle. So Brahma is the same.
So life of Naradji is only for this millennium. Is that what we understand then?
Now what happens to Naradaji? Naradji? He becomes transcendental spaceman.
Right.
In the previous millennium, he was born in the 5 years. He could see Lord. He lost his mother. And then he surged out. And all story will come now. But now, because Lord has shown the mercy, now he is transcendental.
That means he will continue till the time of the completion of current Brahmaji's life, right?
He'll be always there. He is not
He will be
dependent
always
on
there.
current
Okay.
Brahma's life. He is a transcendental spaceman. He can travel everywhere. He can travel to Vaikuntha. He can travel anywhere, everywhere.
Correct.
Okay. Any other
Correct.
question?
Yes, Mataji, I'm just wondering about the number of the sloka you mentioned, Vasudeva. What is the number of
The
the sloka?
first scene, first canto, second chapter, you only find out what is the number of sloka.
Okay. First
Vasudeva
canto.
Paravida. First canto we are doing now. The second chapter you will find.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hari Hari.
Doubts
I have
are
a
over.
question.
Yeah.
In the verse 21, Srila Prabhupada in the purport says that Srila Vyasadeva gave example that everybody must have a spiritual master, even a spiritual master is God Himself. So
The same verse. Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tatha guru. Consider the spiritual master as good as Lord.
yes. Can it be said that if somebody takes as a spiritual master as a Paramatma, or is it possible like this?
Spiritual master is not Paramatma. Spiritual master is not God, but he is God's, belongs to Lord, representative of Lord. So you treat Lord, the spiritual master, as good as God. The Lord comes to your house, then how will you treat him? Like the Prime Minister sends his representative. Will you keep him outside, or your servant will stay outside? No, you'll treat him the best, so that he will go and give this message. In the same way, if you treat the spiritual master as good as God, then Krishna is very happy. Krishna says, yes, I give him the knowledge. Sakshat dharitvena samasta shastre. Don't we chant every day also?
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Nainu, what will you say today? Chant.
नामपि सर्वेषां मन्कते अन्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां तमे तमो मतः.
Tamamata. Very good. Say Vanchakalpatarubhyascha.
वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धु पावनं वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः.
वैष्णवृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. हरि बोल.